Have you ever felt like you're falling behind because you don't have a degree? Like every conversation somehow circles back to one question. So, where did you go to college? And the moment you hesitate, the room feels quieter. Maybe you dropped out. Maybe you never enrolled. Or maybe you're watching friends graduate, posting photos in caps and gowns, while you clock into a job that barely pays the bills. And deep down, you're asking yourself, did I already mess up my future? If you've ever been told that without a degree, you'll never succeed, this story is for you. Because once there was a young man who left college with nothing but doubt, judgment, and a minimum wage job, and 10 years later, he owned more property than most of his former professors, not despite leaving school, but because of what he learned after. Stay with me. This story might change how you see your own path. Gideon was 21 years old when he walked out of college for the last time. Business major, average grades, big expectations. His parents believed college was the only way up. His teachers said success followed a formula, and Gideon believed them until he didn't. The lectures felt distant, abstract, disconnected from real life, while professors talked about hypothetical companies. Gideon couldn't stop thinking about real buildings, real people, real money changing hands. He worked part-time cleaning apartments for a small property management company, and that job did something school never did. It showed him how money actually moved, who owned what, who collected rent, who made decisions, and who stayed stuck. His grades slipped, warnings piled up, until the question became unavoidable. Stay in school and suffocate, or leave and disappoint everyone. Gideon chose to leave. Dropping out didn't feel brave. It felt humiliating. Family dinners became awkward. Friends stopped asking what he was studying, and strangers asked the question he hated most. So what do you do? Gideon worked full-time, cleaning units, fixing toilets, hauling trash. No degree, no title, no backup plan. One night, his uncle laughed and said, "You really think you're going to get rich mopping floors?" Gideon didn't answer. But later that night, lying awake in bed, he asked himself the same thing. At 23, Gideon had $1,100 in savings. No degree, no job offers outside manual labor, and zero respect from anyone who mattered to him. He applied for office jobs anyway. Rejected, over and over. Bachelor's degree required. Every email felt like confirmation of his worst fear. Maybe they're right. Maybe I missed my chance. One night, while cleaning an empty apartment, Gideon noticed something. That unit rented for more in 1 month than he earned in 2. That apartment wasn't smarter than him, didn't work harder than him. Someone just owned it. And that thought wouldn't let him sleep. Instead of scrolling social media at night, Gideon started studying real estate. Not textbooks, real listings, public records, YouTube breakdowns, local investor stories. He learned how rent worked, how mortgages worked, how leverage worked, and most importantly, he learned this. Degrees don't buy buildings. Cash flow does. He asked his boss questions. then more questions, then uncomfortable questions. Why this property? Why that price? Why not buy instead of rent? Most people brushed him off. One older investor didn't. His name was Marcus. No college degree. Owned 12 rental properties. Marcus said something Gideon never forgot. School teaches you how to qualify for approval. Real estate teaches you how to create leverage. He wrote 3 words on a scrap of paper. Skills, numbers, people. Master those, Marcus said, and nobody will ever ask where you went to school again. Gideon saved aggressively. No vacations. No new clothes. No excuses. At 25, he partnered with 2 friends and bought a tiny duplex. It wasn't glamorous. One unit had mold. The other had a broken heater. Tenants complained constantly. Most people would have called it a mistake. But for the first time, money came in without his hands on a mop. He made mistakes, expensive ones, but every mistake taught him more than any exam ever had. One deal became 2. 2 became 5. 5 became 15. Gideon reinvested everything. Friends with degrees earned steady salaries. Gideon lived lean and built assets. At 30 years old, he owned more property than anyone in his family history. People who once doubted him started asking questions. How did you do it? Can you teach me? Do you think I should go back to school? Gideon just smiled. Gideon's story isn't anti-college. It's anti-belief that there's only one path. A degree can open doors. So can skills. So can results. So can relationships. The world doesn't reward credentials. It rewards value. So if you don't have a degree, ask yourself, what skills am I building? What problems am I solving? Who trusts me because I deliver? Stop comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. You're not behind. You're just early in a different race. Gideon didn't follow the blueprint. He built his own, and so can you. If this story helped you see your future differently, share it with someone who needs to hear it. I'll be back with another story soon. Until then, build skills, create value, and remember, your path is valid.